Hello everybody. So we're back with week 4 of my September budget and week 4 of my 75 hard personal finance challenge. So in this video I will take you through to day 28 of my budget and the challenge, and you'll get a follow-up video in a few days time to conclude September's budget. So yeah, let's get started. So in this video we're going from day 22, so just to go through what I spent every day. So on day 22 I sent £10 to my money box account, and that was split between my LISA and my pension equally, £5 each. On the 23rd I put £50 into my emergency fund. On day 24 I put another £30 into my emergency fund. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake on that previous page. I said that I put £50 in. I put £20, that's a lie. Maybe I just can't read my own handwriting, but... Sorry, so day 24, as I said, £30 into my emergency fund. Day 25, £29.47 paid off my credit card. Day 25, I did a tiny little shop at my corner shop and spent £13.33. I think that was on milk and probably on chocolate, because I'm always tempted whenever I go to the corner shop. Day 26, we actually had an appointment that day, so me and my partner grabbed some food while we were out, and we spent £11.30 on that. And I also had to fill up with petrol, so I spent £63.27. That does mean I know I've gone over my petrol allowance because I already filled up with £60 previously in the month. But we'll come to that in the next video. Day 27. So I think I told you in a previous video that we were taking my partner's niece and another friend's daughter out for a treat. We took them to Hawke Conservancy Trust, and there was a owl flying display. So we'd already bought, the tickets were already bought, but this huge amount of £93.28 was spent on eating out pretty much. We went to KFC and to Taco Bell, but I've combined the two. The girls weren't hungry when we first picked them up, and we had plans to just take them out for dinner before going to the Hawke Conservancy, and they weren't hungry, so we just got something quick in Taco Bell, and it was really disappointing. If anyone's ever had the cinnamon twists from there, I thought it was going to be a bit like a churro. I don't know if you've ever had Taco Bell, but they do like a churro in that, and I assumed that the cinnamon twists were going to be the same, and they were more like a quaver type texture, like those sort of puff crisps with a bit of cinnamon sugar over the top, and yeah, so disappointed with them. I probably should have guessed because they were quite low in calories, but oh well, won't make that mistake again. And yeah, KFC was very expensive for four of us to eat. Even it's bad, isn't it, when junk food gets this expensive to eat out. I remember when it used to be, well, KFC was always the more expensive of all the fast food restaurants, but my god, that was a shock. But I had sort of planned ahead. I did think that we might spend about £100, so that's that. And then on day 28 I did my grocery shop in Aldi, and I topped up a gift card using the Everup app, and that was £60. So that's all my spending. Obviously I've reviewed my budget. I know I've gone over, and I won't do a review in this video, but I'll be able to fill in the rest of this, and we'll see where I'd gone wrong, and hopefully I can do better for next month. Now we're going to go over my one small wow for action. So on day 22, like I said in the budget, I sent £10 to my money box account, and that was £5 into my pension, £5 into my LISA. On day 23, I put £20 into my emergency fund. In fact, let's do that now. So day 22 was £20 into the emergency fund, and day 24 was £30 into the emergency fund. I'm just going to get my emergency fund little check-off thing, and I can colour in another heart because each one of these hearts is £50. So I'm just going to do that while we're talking about this. So that's another heart. Lovely, and we are a quarter of the way there to the £1,000 emergency fund, so happy with that. Day 25, I paid £29.47 off my credit card. I can't mark anything off of my tracker because my tracker tracks £100 paid off, so I'll have to wait for that. Day 26, I sold an item on Vinted, and I've just had notifications to say that they've actually received that today, so hoping to get paid for that shortly. Day 27, I invested in my trading 212 account, so I bought £5 on my Vanguard FTSE All World fund and £5 into my S&P 500 fund. And finally on day 28, I sold another item on Vinted. And then my wealth education. So I've watched quite a few videos, but you'll see if you do happen to want to look up these videos, a lot of these are quite short videos. So on day 22, I watched How to Stop Living Paycheck to Paycheck from Fierce Rich Money. And I also watched Rachel Cole's video, how she's spending her £60 weekly food shop. On day 23, I watched Laura Levels Up and what she made from her 7 streams of income. And I also watched it's called Being_Mech, the emotional side of paying off debt. Day 24, I watched Skint Living's 10 tips to stop wasting food and save money. And I also watched Compounding Investor. I've reached 1,500 in dividends per month, which is, yeah, that's crazy. But he has been investing since the year 2009, so hey, one day we'll get there. Day 25, the Temple of One, the 5-year retirement plan. I think she directed it really for women over a certain stage, but there's no harm planning ahead, is there? So watch that one. Day 26, this actually came from a recommendation from the Temple of One. I watched a 6-figure bookkeeping channel, and there was a playlist on bookkeeping from home because I've been looking at doing it as a side hustle, but that is for me on the back burner for the moment because I've got other things going on in my life that I will not have time for that, and I will probably talk about that later. But also I've got exams coming up through my full-time job, and I need to focus on that, so yeah. And then day 27, I watched Your Money Mate, Is It Too Late to Start Investing? And I'm gonna have to say it definitely isn't. So I know quite a few people that I watch have just started investing. So the Sharon, I think her channel is called now The Retirement Edit. I know she watches, so I'm sure she'll comment, say if I've got that wrong. And she has just started her own investing journey, so I'm very, very curious to watch and see what she does, and I'm so glad that she started. And I know that Sharon on Living on a Low Income has also been thinking about investing, so yeah, I'm glad that they've thought about that. But yeah, I think Your Money Mate does a good job of talking about investing and encouraging people to start. And then finally on day 28, I watched Gillian Daigle. She's a new channel that I've come across, and I watched her bi-weekly payday routine. So that wraps up to day 28 of the challenge. I think it's going well. I think I'm thoroughly into the habits now of doing all these, doing all the different things I've got to do each day. So my small wealth action, my wealth education, writing down what I've spent each day, and I'm really, really conscious of what I'm spending. I mean, I know I'm on the, page 3 of the spending tracking, but to be honest, it seems like a lot of it is actually going to things like my emergency fund, paying off credit card, whereas I bet if I'd done this a few months ago, it would have been going on silly little purchases. And yeah, that's just how you get yourself into messes, isn't it? Or not having savings behind you because you've spent it on other things. I do have a very small amount of cash stuffing, and I'll explain why. So the girls, when we were out, they wanted to buy some pens from the gift shop, and even though that is included in my fund money that I spent, they gave me £5 because the pens came to that. So I am going to put that in my box. If I bring that over here, so it's going in there, and I will mark off my tracker for that. Where's my green? £20 there, and I don't know how I came across this 50p. It was in my purse. I don't know where this 50p's come from, but we can also mark that off the penny savings challenge. Unfortunately, it's the only change that I've got. That's coming out. Unfortunately, it's the only change that I've got this week, just to put in my silver saver. So I'm going to mark off 50p off that line there.